First of all, for those who are not familiar with the term skinny chicken, I use it in this context. I mean, there are probably several different contexts to use this term skinny chicken, but for all intents and purposes, when I say it, I'm saying meager, less than, smaller than, leaner, okay? Perhaps cheaper in expense, okay? Skinny chicken, skinny chicken, okay? So I apply that to many, many reasons in my version. I know that there is a derivative from the olden days that is similar, but not quite my version. I just apply it to, like, leaner, meager, okay? I'm just saying. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Jan. Welcome to another episode on this channel, the Save Money or More with Jan channel. Thank you very much for being here. And as always, I hope that everyone is doing well. And thank you so much for sharing your breakfast time or lunchtime or midday break, or you just want to kick back and give a listen to something, anything else but whatever else you were listening to before. Thank you. I'm very, very honored. Um, all right, let's jump right into it. Skinny chicken holiday or special events are not impossible to work with. No, they are not impossible to work with. Okay. I want to give you an explanation. Number one, when I have what I call a skinny chicken year, because even if I did everything I could to scrape together the funds that I wanted to hit, sometimes the goals are not necessarily reached despite my good efforts. Sometimes that's real life. That happens, right? But I did make the effort as best as I can. And for that, I give myself kudos. So if I was going to grade myself on these things, check mark, kudos, tried your best because what? You tried. So if that's you, right off the bat, check mark, you tried. All right. The next thing to keep in mind is to stay focused. Now, this is really even more important at times than the dollar amount. All right. Stay focused on the reason for the celebration. Stay focused on the reason for the Christmas holiday season. Very, very important. Or if you're planning a birthday celebration for a friend or a family member, and it is not this big, big, grandiose thing. Have you ever seen people that have, in my opinion, in my humble but honest opinion, some birthday celebrations, I've seen them as big as wedding receptions. You think I'm kidding? Trust me, I am not. And I ask myself, is that good? Especially when the child is very young, having these like microscopic but still almost as if wedding reception type of celebration for a milestone birthday of 1 year old, five, and so on. I ask myself, hmm, how do you feel about that? I'm not sure. I, I I don't think I'm a fan of that, but that's me. I am a fan of the celebration. I think we could have the more casual, a lot smaller on the scale, but that's not the focus of today. We need to focus on the reason for the occasion, okay? Because if we focus more on the theme, the reason, why are we putting this thing together, and make the theme clearer without it costing so much money, then you have achieved a wonderful goal, especially frugal people. Frugal people are purposeful in their decision making, clearer mindset, on very driven to arrive at the reason for whatever it is they're doing, the desire to purchase something, to reach that end goal in such a way that, well, it makes more financial sense. Okay. You're not ever going to go into debt over a birthday. You're not ever going to go into debt over major holidays, ever. And that's the reason why I talk about these things in September. And, sometimes people talk about these things in December. I go back a little bit to September. That way, there's more time to plan. Okay. So for me, logically, it just makes sense. So the first thing to do is stay focused on the reason for the season slash occasion that you are doing something. Okay. And next, stay focused on it is absolutely, now this is really, really important. It is absolutely the thought that counts. Okay. Now, sometimes people get so caught up with, I don't know, some inner competition or some number that somebody else compiled statistically and said, like I mentioned last Tuesday, it was about a week ago, on last Tuesday's video about how the average person, family of four, $2,000 budget for holiday spending. Okay. All right. So I think in that statistic, if I am not mistaken, that probably includes party foods, travel, a whole bunch of stuff, decorations. Now I've seen some insanely priced occasion decorations. I'm like, wow, whoever is in that business is probably making out very, very well. Very, very well, because people, love this stuff. I'm not saying don't. But would it be the crime of the century if you use last year's tree again? If you had an artificial tree last year that you carefully put away? No, it would be a wise maneuver. Okay. It is so sad when I see people use a holiday type of decoration, a few days and bye, even though it's in fantastic condition. They just get bored of it. That stuff to put in your donation pile, because let me tell you, so when you're decluttering in January, which many people really go into full force on that one. All right. However, put those, if you're going to do anything, don't just throw it away. If you could donate it to someone who would be more than welcome to have that holiday decoration that maybe you put on for a few days and you got bored with it. There are some people who have reasonably gotten bored, even with just the one time thing. Kindly consider giving it to a friend or a relative. Donate it. That's a lot. Another thing people forget, like when you make the donate pile, right away people think of a large organization to donate it. You could donate it to a friend, you could donate it to a family member. It doesn't only have to be to just one large place, although in many instances that's very desirable. But sometimes you want to bless someone else that you know and look at the smile on their face directly. Because for whatever the reason, trust me on this, I don't know the reason, but for whatever the reason, some people look at a decoration and then very soon after, they're like, I'll get new ones next year. And that's great. So if you can do that and it doesn't go to waste, I'm just saying this as an aside, then you do that. Okay. Now, Skinny Chicken holiday special events are not impossible to work with. No, they're not. And for the person that has, smaller than budget to work with, just do your celebrating on a smaller scale. Instead of having a holiday party of 20, scale it down to a holiday party of 10. You'd be shocked and amazed that will make your budget more reasonable. When I say 10, it doesn't have to be, oh, absolutely 10. Okay. What I'm saying is scale it down and improve it to contour it more to your direct needs. Now, say Stacy from the Saving with Stacy channel, she has a wonderful frugal budget saving channel. Okay, so if you haven't visited her yet, go visit her. She had inquired to me last week on last week's video when I reminded folks back then that we had about 108 days left towards actual Christmas Day. Okay, for those who celebrate. Okay, so instead of the big shocker, no one moves the date off the calendar, right? Still December 25th, the last time I checked. And in all probability, it'll be December 25th next year, too. I'm just saying, some things are in a fixed place. They really are. All right. But the Saving with Stacy channel had it asked me if my celebrations had changed from years and years and years ago. Well, when I was a child growing up, in the cultural background of my family's way back ethnicity, because I'm like the fourth generation American, but the culture that they celebrated uh, was always like with these huge, huge gatherings because people had huge families and they did huge stuff. Everything was big, big, huge, huge, and and in the reality of my American culture, okay, it's scaled down, and it's still okay because one thing everyone had in common, there was the reason for the season that we celebrated. So if that's you, it doesn't make one iota of a difference, the numbers, the big numbers. So long as you do what fits reasonably with your personal belief system, that is what you work with. And my personal belief system is that the season is for Jesus. Okay. So he's the reason for my season. And so whether I have this big, 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 grandiose assembly line of food type of celebration uh, versus now a lot of people they see these movies, okay, that glamorize certain things about eating a ton of fish the night before. Maybe I think that might have been a movie thing that somebody concocted and everybody thinks that was like no. Maybe get a couple of your favorite fish and do it, whatever. We don't need to live up to the expectation of cinematic drama, of what the movies depict. You have to figure out your own economy. And while statistics may say $2,000 per family of four, that might be so unrealistic for your family of four. This is actually the theme, in my honest, for the whole year long. We don't have to adapt to some crazy imagery that somebody else conjured on a Hollywood script to be an acceptable holiday. You have to work with your belief system. Some people on Christmas Day rather be very quiet. They rather just reflect upon the meaning of the season. They do a lot of things that are introspective, spiritual in their, in their life, and then they do and work with that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I don't want to get too deeply into those aspects right now. Um, what I want to say is this: skinny chicken holidays, or special events, are not impossible to work with. You can't budget in your budget reasonably. You can't live within your means, below your means, because you can't have this 50-person celebration. So be it. It's not about the numbers. It's about who you're with. It's about staying focused on the reason for the season, and it's about making the most of what you have. You can't go. There's a cupcake store, okay, in the city. All right, they charge a most ridiculous price for, in my opinion, ridiculous price for a cupcake. I'm not saying they're not beautiful. I'm not saying they're not artistic to look at. I'm not saying that. And I mean, they're bigger than a standard cupcake you would make at home. But if you're on a budget, a tight budget, are you going to buy like three of those cupcakes for practically $20? Really? Really? So that's an example of working with what you have. Or you might go to another bakery, which is an average bakery, and get maybe, I don't know, three cupcakes for like $8. Or better still, you're really slashing it down and get a box of cake mix for $1.29 and a can of frosting for about the same price and get 24 cupcakes. Huh. I fall into the second and third choice. Okay, I'm not going to spend $20 for three cupcakes, no matter how cute they are. Maybe if curiosity prevails, maybe I would treat myself on a mad crazy money day to one of those and cut it up and share it with three people. That is a consideration. Just to get it out of my system. What is such the big deal about this ridiculously high priced cupcake? All right. I'm just saying. So basically, the bottom line is we're working with what we have as best as we possibly could. And that's it. And there's no wrong or right about it. So before I go, let's emphasize the most important things. Stay focused on the reason for the occasion, no matter what the occasion is that you're celebrating. Two, scale it down if you cannot work within your budget. Have a budget planned, have a number fixed in your head in advance, okay? Stay below budget. It's all about staying and living within your means anyway. You don't want to go into debt, DEBT rabbit hole over a party, do you? That's how the vicious cycles start beginning sometimes, I'm telling you. So there you go. All right, everybody, just stay focused, work with your skinny chicken holiday, and celebrate it as best as you possibly can by staying focused on the reasons for those celebratory seasons. Have a great day. Take good care of yourself and your amazing family. Please don't forget to click like. I always forget this. Click like. Raise the algorithm. Let this video get sent out to more people who are juggling how to figure out learning to live with skinny chicken holidays. I really appreciate every single one of you. Come back tomorrow at 5 o'clock for the main show. I call it the main show because the 5 o'clock one is fixed. It comes on every single morning. You could have a cup of joe with me or cook your breakfast with me in the background. You don't have to stare at a screen. Just put it on and just go about your business, stare into space and go, maybe Jan's making a point or two today. Let me know in the comments section below. Take good care of yourself and your amazing family. Thank you.